We are live once again. My ring light is not on. We are live once again for WWE Smackdown, this time featuring Liv Morgan versus Natalya. Let's see how real that little spat was. And plenty more on the way. We have Jimmy Uso versus Angelo Dawkins. We have a special guest referee to talk about. We even have Riddick Moss chasing an Austin Theory. So welcome everyone to the show. Thank you very much for following Random Breed 14. A random breed of all different choices, I'll say. When you're breeding something, every now and then when you're playing Pokemon, you'll just get a random breed and a dit all pop out and it'll be amazing. Welcome to the show. The highlight, I would imagine, will be Liv Morgan, Natalya. But there is plenty more to come. We are opening with Pat McAfee being introduced by Michael Cole, which kind of shows what's important to the WWE right now. Pat McAfee is definitely the one. He just gets his entrance music is just a SmackDown music. That sounded disappointing. A little bit more would have been great. They showed someone in the crowd who's in like his 40s just crying at Pat McAfee. McAfee is richer than Corbin, that's genuinely true. Not by that much though, but it is genuinely true. This is a draw segment for Happy Corbin as well, let's be fair. We all know about the draw segment by now. But Happy Corbin in a draw segment yet again. I'm still not quite over the fact that SummerSlam's on a Saturday this year. Like, I could not be happier with that as a concept. Hey Bailey, says McAfee and Corbin once teammates in an NFL training camp. I have seen the pictures, and I've got to say, it creates story automatically. My BT Sport has already crashed. It creates automatic storyline and automatic tension just for who's better. Now, I still think Pat McAfee's going to take a loss here. I'm still confident of that. But it's nice every now and then to see two people who have a reason not to like each other, you know? Instead of like, this person's a wrestler, this person's also a wrestler. They want this fancy piece of belt. Now they hate each other. Just a little bit more. Just something behind it. I still remember when Robert Roode was the champion in NXT and he picked up a feud because, nice head. I'll never get over that. Sean, welcome mate, says not sure why Pat is coming out to SmackDown's theme when he has his own theme. He may have only been able to license that theme for the one day. Not necessarily just him. The WWE in general. After all, the plan was not for him to have this contract after WrestleMania and for him to have all the matches, but he was so well received in the matches that he's had that the WWE felt the need to make sure that he was locked in for as long as they possibly could have him locked in for. Pat McAfee is more valuable to the WWE right now than Sasha Banks is. Unfortunate reality for a lot of people, but reality nonetheless. Hello Megan, how are you? Hope you're well. Also, I loved it last week when Baron Corbin was rocking out in Pat McAfee style to Shinsuke Nakamura's theme. I can't not love that, especially if Michael Cole sat behind like, Corbin and Nakamura have a real checkered history as well. And BT Sports crashed again. I'm going to have problems today, aren't I? Is it the weather? Because the weather's just hot. That's the only weather. Jay Quick, how you doing, mate? Says I'm here with chicken tenders. Ooh. That's how we do it. That's absolutely how we do it. I made a chorizo pizza earlier. I'm very happy with my life choices right now. Chorizo pizza and a bit of nachos. Because who doesn't like a bit of nachos? Just a little bit. A little bit. You can do whatever you want with nachos. If you're not a cheese person, don't have cheese. Be weird, but you don't have to. Okay, we're back. Sean says the dark matches were Raquel versus Sonya and Drew Gulak and Ricochet versus Los Lotharios. Means we're unlikely to see them going forwards. I'd like to have seen Raquel versus Sonya, but I assume they didn't actually get more than like 5 minutes. Pat McAfee just going mental here in the best possible way. This ain't TV14 yet. No mention of SmackDown being TV14, Pat. Someone reads the dirt sheets. Pat McAfee's going to make Corbin a good brother. Sean says the post-show dark match is Riddle versus Omos. That won't keep bums in seats. There is so much as too much of the phrase bum-ass Corbin. Good thing Corbin did interrupt. That is a lovely shirt. I want that shirt. Is Corbin trying to rhyme? Corbin worked hard on that facial hair. That's all I wanted to say. Megan says, I like the name Hobo Corbin. You and me both. Rolls off the tongue. Baron Corbin playing the Sheamus card of I've contracted something nasty. What is going on with SmackDown recently? Mentioned COVID last week, monkeypox this week. What is going on? I'm tweeting that. So Corbin's keeping his distance the same way Sheamus is. I don't think Pat McAfee's going to have any issue waiting for the match. That was never really in doubt. Sheamus last week, Corbin this week. Something is going around at SmackDown. Bit of a cheap pop from Pat McAfee, but it works. Fate monkeypox. Sean says, do you think Io would stay if given a main roster contract? We don't know if she hasn't already been offered a main roster contract. We don't know if she's going anywhere. Lots and lots of good questions, none of which are the question that you've asked there. You're skipping steps, mate. Megan says, plus he can keep any monogram stuff he already has. True. And we're going straight from this into an introduction for Liv Morgan. Pat McAfee giving Liv the rub. Hello, Hinson. How you doing, mate? Says, what is up, bro? Trash Corbin. Also kind of worse considering he literally lived in a dumpster for a while. At least for a little while, full on lived in a dumpster. Wore the same shirt for 5 weeks. Which is... it's beautifully done. Liv Morgan heading down in red. Still looks slightly emotional whenever she holds the belt up. Lots of focus on kids in the audience. Kind of suggests where they're going with her target audience. And here they are running us down. Looks like we're going to open with Liv Morgan versus Natalya, which I'm pretty happy with. After all, a lot of people really thinking there's going to be some massive drama here, I don't think there is. This should be a conclusive win for Liv. Would be fully deserved. But Liv needs to get some actual wins under her belt, and sooner rather than later, just to sort of reinforce her position on the card. So a strong start, I'd say. The reintroduction of Pat McAfee is never a bad thing, really crowd pleasing. Baron Corbin's promo was brief, but effective, just laying out where we're going with this. Straight into the arrival of Liv Morgan. We know we're getting a match coming. Not just that, but we know there's an added tension to the match, almost as if by plan. There's just something else hyping it up a little bit more, just in general. So I'm a little more interested in Liv Morgan versus Natalya than I was this time last week, I'll say that. Connor says, hell big boy, Tom. Sorry I am late. No need to worry, mate. You've missed 2 promos, both from the same person. Not much else to really say on that regard. Not much else to say. Hope you're well though, mate. That's always the important thing for me. That you're good. If you are currently watching on YouTube, please do remember to hit like. A little thumbs up can make a massive difference and is a big help to the growth of the channel. And subscribe if you haven't already for more watch parties. Megan says it's got people talking about them at least and not Vince for a change. Yeah, I think everyone sort of thinks that's the distraction, the dead cat as it were, as much as possible, just trying to keep people away from being focused on what's actually going on outside of the ring at the moment. It's working. It's certainly working. The idea that there's some massive heat on Natalya backstage, not true. Absolutely not true. Ooh, Connor says, I am positively scrumptious. Truly. You are truly scrumptious. Sean says, I saw Thor Love and Thunder. It wasn't bad. Cool. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I finally saw Multiverse of Madness recently. I have thoughts. I feel like one day I'm going to need someone to just review TV shows and movies with me. Just start a channel, get a co-host and just be like, yeah, this film, what the hell was that? Because I have thoughts. Thing is, I do feel that's the easiest business model right now. Let's say Netflix releases a new episode of Stranger Things. You queue a live show for right after that episode of Stranger Things. So as soon as it's released, you watch it, you go live immediately afterwards saying, yeah, it was alright that. But you say that for like 2 hours, you'll grow exponentially. It'll be absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous how quickly you'll grow. I mean, I've seen some quick growers. That is a grower, not a shower. I'm in a weird mood at the moment. But we are in a commercial break. Liv Morgan versus Natalya will be the match when we get back. I'm pretty confident Natalya is going to take the loss here. Liv Morgan looking for some conclusive victories before we get to Ronda Rousey to make her look a little bit better. Of course, that's if she loses. Connor says, who do we know who's a big TV movie guy? If it was nerd culture, it's Megan, but I suppose Ed is, but he also, I don't know. There's lots of play here. If Ed was here, we could work it out. Maybe Sai. Connor says, I feel like Ed is, but I'm not sure. That's just a feeling. Maybe I'll get Mags. Mags would be a perfect shout for that. We are back to SmackDown. We are having ourselves a Roman and Brock Lesnar vignette. Suggests that Roman won't be here tonight. I know that Brock's not going to be there. Megan says, maybe that's where I'm going wrong. I should advertise that I sometimes rant about TV shows on my streams, although the last rant was about LFCC. Give it a shot. Go for it. Jump in. To be fair, that's all most podcasts are, just people ranting about stuff. Honestly, the most important thing is just availability. If you can go live right after the show, you're golden. The problem is it's not really a TV show anymore. It gets released at a certain time, and you just got to work out when that is. That is a very strong boo for Natalya. That was genuinely a strong boo for Natalya. The dirt sheets have not done her a favour on this one. I can't tell how serious Liv Morgan's serious face is. She's not really known for it. Connor says, to be fair, who does not love a good rant? Fair. Absolutely fair. The thing is, it'd be an easy sell as well because, for example, if I was going to review Game of Thrones, it's always really easy to compare Tyrion to The Miz. And so on. If I was going to compare something political, I'd be like, I'd be like, Boris Johnson is Baron Corbin. Nobody likes him, but he's important, and he's eventually going to be a champion. We just all have to accept it. You know, that sort of thing. Natalya starting out pretty strong. I get the feeling this isn't going to be a classic. It's just going to be a bit of a scrap, which is not a bad place to be. Megan says, to be fair, LFCC was a mess. I was sharing what I saw about the utter shit show it was. Fair. I recently started watching The Orville. I think I'm about 2/3 of the way through season 1. I'm excited to finish it, but also it's already having a bit of a dip for me where it gets a bit monster of the week. Kind of just exploded a little bit. Liv Morgan with a nice little kip up. That's a show off. They are trying to play up the idea that this is a very personal match. Well, the slap in the face really makes that clear. Just want to be clear, because I don't think anyone else has actually announced this, or the news hasn't gone anywhere else. These two are more than happy to work together. There's not an issue. There isn't actually an issue. I don't think that's actually been reported anywhere. Connor says, I know I love a good rant. You can probably hear me in the cupboard. Yeah, that's my background noise. I go to sleep to that noise. You just ranting away in the cupboard. Ah, he's a lovely drop kick. The replay really sold it. Connor genuinely just exploded at mention of the Orville. Megan said, I've been watching Iron Chef. Missed that show. It's amazing the shows you miss. Like, I'm genuinely excited for the second series of Is It Cake? I said, I'll watch it with an 11-year-old. She just wants to know if it's cake, and she wants it now. So do I. Hector says, Tom, I don't know if you've played it or if you're a fan of the God of War reboot. If so, you're excited for the sequel at Ragnarok. It's looking damn good. I watched a Let's Play from Johnny Chiodini. I didn't go much further. I found it interesting, but not necessarily something that I'm watching actively. I'd certainly give it a go. I want to get back into gaming a bit more, but I'm really limited for time at the minute. There's a lot of birthdays this month, and then it's summer holidays, so there's 3 kids very close to me in the family. I'm not going to have a lot of gaming streams. Michael Cole nearly calling Natalya Ronda Rousey. Lovely slingshot. Liv genuinely flew on that. That was a lovely exchange on the apron. I have to take it back about the classic. These are good so far. Bailey says, the Wall Street Journal's reporting on Vince hasn't really affected the WWE on the stock market. What kind of other revelations would really move the board to act, or is Vince in the clear? Vince is not in the clear. Vince is actively being investigated by the board. That is ongoing, and it's taking a little while because they keep learning more. So it's a matter of time until we find out what the board's decision is. When it comes to the stock, as long as Vince is still there, people are generally happy to invest. I need to invest myself, but it's very expensive. Connor is currently watching the new season 3 of The Orville. Episodes are each Thursday. I do need to catch up. See, that's what I love Megan. Every now and then I get that, usually like a new Aryan album. I can't imagine many people are aware of Aryan, Arjun Anthony Lucasen. His work, sci-fi rock epics with like 12 singers all in one album. It is glorious stuff. And I recently, over the last 3 months, realised I'd missed 2 album releases because of lockdown. And I lost my damn mind. There's a commercial on BT Sport based on an Olympic race. But there is fog, there are cars, there are sheep. I like what's happening here. It reminds me of the Animal Olympics, which was a one-off cartoon many years ago that nobody's ever seen but me. The phrase Animal Olympics just works so well as well. "20 minutes in, so far so good for SmackDown. The match has been pretty good, pretty solid. The opening promo was strong. If it keeps up like this will go down as one of the better ones of the year so far. Sean says, what did you think of Multiverse of Madness? I thought it was too much comic book, not enough movie. The pacing was a little off for me. And I didn't feel the characterization was as strong as previous ones. But I don't know. I think my main issue was I didn't believe the motivations of the villain. You might say I've been waiting a long time for a certain character who didn't quite deliver for me. Connor says, if no one has seen it but you, how do you know if it was actually real? I don't. It may have just been a fever dream, but I remember turning on BBC Two many, many years back, finding myself the Animal Olympics and just giving it a go. We are back with SmackDown. Liv Morgan and Natalya still in action. It's been good so far. The crowd are into it, probably because of the rumours of Natalya. There are certainly conversations amongst fans about Natalya being added to Ronda Rousey, Liv Morgan at SummerSlam. If Natalya wins this match, that would definitely be the case. But I don't think they'd do that to Liv this early. I think eventually they'll do that to Liv, let's be honest, that's what they do. But I don't think they would do it this early. Jake is not a fan of WWE Creative. Well, I do believe they have job openings. Jump on in, make it work. Megan says, I wonder if we'll see MMM this week or just get Max roasting some of the applicants from the website. I don't think you can lose either way. I think we'll see MMM or at least Max Dupree backstage. But I would just like him to roast some people. What gets more fan engagement than actively roasting the fans? It was odd, Connor. There were races between ostriches. It's a funny old world we live in. Also says, could Ronda come down to cause a DQ win for Natalya so she gets added? I mean, she could, but there's no reason why she would. That's a heel move. Unless there's a ref bump, but I don't see a male ref bump in a female match. I don't like that I've just said that, but I have just said that. Little botch there. That was supposed to be a bit of a slingshot, but Natalya just got a boot in the back of the head instead. Beautiful German. Beautiful catch release. People do forget how good Natalya is. She's not able to show it as much as she would like at times. But she's very good. One thing I will say with confidence, Natalya's taken Liv's finisher tonight. It's important. Hector says, I doubt it happens. But with Dolph now seemingly doing a singles run, I hope they really do something with Bobby Roode. And we're moving back to NXT or draft him to SmackDown when that time comes. Give me Gunter and Roode in an IC title feud this fall. I like where your head's at, Hector. I like that as a concept. Gunter's going to need some people to work with. Roode, obviously, very experienced, very capable, can take a damn bump. And every now and then, you're going to have to give him a feud he can just win. Just win. I did not, Sean. I did not see the full range. I didn't see the full range. Didn't see enough, I'll say that. We'll stop the conversation there in case of spoilers, but I didn't see enough. I think I liked what I saw, but I didn't see enough. Is about where I want to be. Megan says, the thing is, I do know someone who would be a good fit for MMM. Looks good. Knows he looks good. Plays it up a lot and takes the piss out of himself about it. And he's a wrestler. Make it happen, mate. Make it happen. Natalya set up for the finish. Takes it with no issue whatsoever. Takes it, sells it, no issue. Clean win for Liv Morgan. Natalya will not be added to the match at SummerSlam. Solid match. Liv Morgan continues to improve, though to be fair, it's very difficult to have a bad match with Natalya. Very difficult. Oh, I've scrolled down randomly. Solid opener for SmackDown. Liv Morgan continues to improve, but to be fair, if you can't have a good match with Natalya, you can't have a good match. Liv is getting interviewed after the match. This is starting to concern me that she's being slightly over-celebrated at times. Suggests she might not have the championship for long. Kayla, what a dick. Kayla Braxton just getting booed there. Sheamus says Gunter versus Sheamus. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I want it, I need it, make it happen. Liv should have just slapped her in the face. Whole entire life. There is one guy out there trying desperately to get a "you deserve it" chant going. I feel for him. Blowing kisses to the bell. Genuinely a little bit concerned. Connor says, I think Natalya is overrated. Never liked her. Feel like people only rate her as much as they do because of being a heart. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people disagree with me. I personally do disagree with you there, Connor, but this is a place where that's certainly an option. I do think she's an incredibly talented wrestler. I don't think the women's division would be anywhere near as good as it is without her, because she trains, as soon as people come up to the main roster, she's there training them. She's the one who really sets the agenda. She's a locker room leader for the women. Austin Theory is backstage quoting Spider-Man. Solid, quick promo going on. Oh, hello. Paul Heyman just celebrating the employees. Looking for a word of Austin Theory. Don't shake his hand. Oh. No, see, now I'm just excited. This is a pairing I could get behind. You do know. He does know. Heyman's got to offer him something here. Heyman's got to offer him something here. Bring him in. Make him Bloodline. Make him Bloodline, and he'll hand you the briefcase. This is actually a solid offer being made right now. He'd actually be dumb to turn this down. This is a solid offer. My BT Sports crashed. I don't know if he's going to accept or not. He's obviously not, but still. This is going to be confusing because to everyone else he's going to be a heel. But as soon as Roman Reigns is involved, Austin Theory is going to be the face. It's the only way to do it. I was really enjoying that promo, and I've got to reset. Boo, BT. Boo. I was going to say Boo T, because BT and Boo, but that's something else. And I don't want to boo, that's something else. I want to celebrate, that's something else. I was incredibly dumb by Theory. It was genuinely a solid offer. It's the new Vicious Viking Raiders. I wouldn't have turned down that Paul Heyman offer. The Viking Raiders on their way down, probably to be up the New Day again. Or not. Or it's The New Day as Viking Raiders. Which I'll take. That. I'm sorry, but Xavier Woods looks absolutely fantastic. Like, absolutely fantastic. Bailey says, I was thinking this week that between the men and women, there are as many as 25 future Hall of Famers on the current roster. I think Natalya is likely one of them. I'm confident Natalya is definitely getting her ring at some point. Where Wrestling Go says that would be a slobber knocker as regards Gunter. And Sheamus, the new raid. I like it. The new raid. It's just a very exciting concept that I would just love to see. Megan says, as regards Liv, they haven't even given her her side place yet. Not yet. They need to get to a centre where they actually can change them. Hector says, I don't assume anything, but it seems like you're a Marvel fan. With that being said, what do you think of the What If series? I think it's an interesting concept, unless your imagination run wild. I haven't seen enough of it. I dipped in early, but I don't really remember much from it. So I think I am a Marvel fan, but there is already so much of it. I'm a bit overwhelmed by the whole thing. There's a bit too much happening. Like, I never got around to watching anything other than Jessica Jones as it regards to, like, oh god, what were the other ones? Iron Fist, Daredevil. Haven't seen any of them. I watched the first Jessica Jones because I thought the villain was interesting, and then I moved on. Nowadays I'm watching Loki. I've got to watch WandaVision. There's a bit too much going on. Megan says, I think Natty being a heart got her in the door, but her own work stopped her getting put back through it. Yeah, she's one person I'm never worried about when they start talking about releases. Natalya's an institution there. Connor likes the idea of Paul Heyman turning again and siding with Theory. I mean, I was going to say I wouldn't hate it, but then I thought about it and I thought, yeah, I'd hate it. Megan says, making Bloodline put him in a feud with Sami Zayn for the spot. If not for the fact that they're all heels, but at the same time, So I was about to make a booty joke, and then the New Day came down. As if by magic. Connor says, the new Raid sounds like an update of all of our favourite mobile game, Raid Shadow Legends. Not a sponsor, but if you do want to sponsor me, Raid Shadow Legends, let me know. I'm probably not going to do it, but let me know, though. I'm not going to play it. It's going to be very difficult reading a script out. Raid has all these options when I'm openly going to be like, I don't play it, but you can if you're long. If you want, merge into if you're long. If you're long, you can play. I'm not on my game today, am I? Sean says Theory would be the youngest WWE champion if he won it. Brock was the youngest champion at 25. Would be the youngest Universal champion, which is currently Kevin Owens at 32. Says a lot about the champions that they've had for the Universal Championship so far, I'll tell you that. Justin Stevens says Belair versus Carmella on Raw again. So lazy. I'd imagine they're going to wrap it up and then impending Becky Lynch. Megan says Theory would have to be champion before the start of September to break Brock's record. Yes, I already worked it out. Of course you did. Literally the definitive stat queen right there. See, Connor, you can be my scriptwriter anytime because you saved us all. Maybe I've been waiting all my life for the right scriptwriter. Maybe that's all it is. Maybe it's not that. Who can tell? Who really cares? Okay, so the first half hour was solid. Really enjoyed the Paul Heyman-Austin Theory interaction. Match between Liv Morgan and Natalya was good. Pat McAfee opening the show was concise, but hype. You know? It was hype. Which is all I really wanted from it. Very fair, Connor. Who knows and who actually gives a fuck? People care way too much about things. John says, I do hope NXT keeps Cora as Cora Jade, not turn her into Elena Black. I don't know if Elena will get over in WWE. Yeah, they're not going to do that. Cora Jade is going to be Cora Jade. They are not going to do that thing that everyone suspects, where, oh, they're going to make her a character that they don't own. That's never going to happen. There's a reason we've never seen Kana, but we've seen a lot of Asuka. I will say, having the New Day in a ring during a commercial break is just going to be great fun for the crowd. I'm not entirely sure if Jinder Mahal's been turned face by this whole affair. I know, obviously, Shanky's got a little bit of momentum behind him now, which is good. But Jinder Mahal, I'm not sure on. Megan is also writing scripts for me. If you want a decent mobile game, forget this. We have to pay people to tell you to play this, and they don't. Save time and download Final Fantasy VII First Soldier instead. Also very fair and also well written. Eric Douglas, how you doing? Says, why do the Viking Raiders have shields? Well, it's mostly for clobbering people over the head. It's Bludgeon Brothers without hammers. This is very basic stuff, but it's New Day, so it works. No, but seriously, Xavier Woods looks fantastic. Kofi's trying not to look fantastic. Hector says, I really wish there was a wing in the WWE Hall of Fame for backstage talent. Talking about Natty, made me think about her husband, TJ Wilson. Didn't have a Hall of Fame in-ring career, but his career as a producer has been as good as it gets. Fair comment, Hector. He's launched careers with his producing. This is all getting a bit Mortal Kombat. Wiggly's here. Hey mate, says yo. Connor says, I think Jinder is just there, to be honest, which isn't unfair. Not unfair. Thank you very kindly for renewing your subscription there, Wiggly. That is a 13th month in total. Thank you kindly. Wiggly also says, got some great news. Got tickets to meet John Cena in August at Wales Comic Con. Can't wait. You're going to meet John Cena. Have a good time, mate. I hope you can see him. So I always find it really awkward at meet and greets because, like, it's John Cena. You literally can't see him. Xavier Woods had a horn. He's not been able to use it yet. He's very disappointed. He brought a horn and he didn't get to play it, and he's honestly very upset by that. New Day encouraging a boo. They already had a good one, to be fair. A solid response to the Raiders so far. Pro Wrestling Goat says, great show, Tom. Got a roll, but keep rocking. Thank you, Pro Wrestling Goat. You have yourself a good evening, and thanks for dropping in. Fair enough, Wiggly. I kind of get it. Eric says, do you think Liv will be a traditional champion? No, not at all. She burps a lot. She real gassy. The New Day are literally just destroying the Viking Raiders here, and the Viking Raiders are just letting it happen. I feel that body shaming maybe isn't the best option. Oh, they're just going to come and beat you up now. Mean. Jay Quick says, somewhere Big E is watching like, what in the world? I guarantee you right now Big E is just hoping that he gets fit nice and soon so he can be involved in this. He misses this. Oh look, it's Jinder Mahal and Shanky. Trying to get the shields off them. Not having the best of luck. It was indeed a trap. I think that's a face turn. Mahal really wanted Xavier Woods to play his horn, but it's not a good horn. Oh, Jinder's going to dance, isn't he? It's time, Jinder. It's time. Stop fighting it. Stop fighting it. The rhythm is going to get you. That's literally his storyline right now. Eventually the rhythm is going to get him. Sean says, since you can't see John Cena, I'm surprised the Invisible Man hasn't sued him yet. Well, they may try, but he can't really catch him. And now we have Gunter backstage. We're focused on his crotch, naturally. He's a big dude, is Gunter. Huge. Jinder's current storyline is the rhythm is going to get you. Yeah. Michael Cole refers to it as Kinshasa rather than Kinshasa, and I don't know how I feel about that. Megan is not happy with Assassin's Creed Valhalla slander. Apparently Xavier was wasn't a fan. Wiggly says, I'm contemplating what belt to buy to get Cena to sign. Either the Spinner title or the Cena Signature Series belt. Latter seems unavailable in the Euroshop, so Spinner it is. Any recommendations? The Spinner is the one most associated with Cena, even though he did have his own one. I'd definitely say that. Definitely. Gotcha, Eric. Transitional. I don't think so. I don't think she'll have the longest championship reign. You rarely do as a first-time champion. But I think she'll be good for a couple of months. 3 or 4, I'd say. 3 or 4. It's one of the longest promos Gunter has ever cut. And it's only been for like 2 words. Sean says, I haven't played AC since 3 after they killed off a character I liked. I've never played any of them. It's not that they're not for me. I like the idea. I like the concept. I've just never got round to them. I went through a phase where I just was not a gamer. I only got back into it in 2015 because Last of Us. I just could not resist the call of Last of Us. It got me back into gaming in a big way. Before that, it was just getting drunk and playing Halo. On Legendary of all the Skulls. Good times. Good times. I can't tell if Kayla is upset or into it. Aaliyah scheduled to wrestle. See if she manages it this time. I'd imagine she's going to get beat up by Lacey Evans. Decent crowd reception. Jay Quick says, I like that Ridge Holland sent Big E red meat. There is genuinely no ill will between them. Ridge Holland has apologised profusely. It is indeed Aaliyah Lacey Evans up next. Aaliyah's there to do the job. I think we all know that one. Jay Quick wants Veer. He wants Veer. Sean says, Jinder was once WWE champion. How the mighty have fallen. Natalya was once a women's champion. We are where we are. Ebb and flow is the right way to go, if you ask me personally. Bailey says, why do I see Veer and Shanky as future 24/7 title material? We've all sort of been conditioned for that. Just to expect very little. And Connor says, Jinder was in 3MB. He should be used to dancing. To be fair, he used to do a lot of it. Law, welcome to the show. Says John Cena versus Theory at WrestleMania 39. I wouldn't complain. I mean, if you're going to put Theory over, put him against some of the biggest names in wrestling. Like Pat McAfee. Of course, that was supposed to be Shane McMahon, but you get what you're given. Wiggly says, not the Signature Series one. Obviously, the Spinner was his belt. Signature Series orange belt was made just to celebrate him, so it's a limited edition. I gotta be honest, when it comes to limited editions, I ain't willing to pay for them. I'll just be happy with what I've got. I've never owned a championship belt. And I'm okay with it. Like, even if I put together an Amazon wish list and a championship belt was on there, I'd kind of hope you wouldn't buy it. Like, I'm never going to put together a wish list just in case. In case someone finds it and puts it on here. Because what I have right now is a very, very generous chat. And you guys worry me sometimes of how generous you are. I need to delay one. I'm a bit warm. A bit too warm. See, when I take my glasses off, I look like a man in his 30s. Of course, when I show off my hair, I look like a man in his 40s. Do you reckon I'll still be streaming when I'm in my 70s? Is wrestling still going to be fun when I'm that age? Would people actually watch that? Eric says, do you think Theory successfully cashes in? And honestly, not really. Not at this point. Not right now, particularly because it's Roman. Now, if Roman loses the championship or the championships, then I think Austin Theory has a much higher chance of getting involved. But for the moment, I just can't see it. I think I've got a little burn on my arm. Oh no, I can, yeah, I've got a burn on my arm. Yeah, fun. Sean says, speaking of limited edition, did you all see the Fiend version of the Universal title with $7,000? Yeah. I ain't never touching that. Megan says, how's the heat been for you so far? Are you in the red zone? I'm not in the red zone. Here in Blackpool, the highest we've had so far is 23. I'm pretty happy with that. I have picked up a bit of a tan and one burn. Just one burn over the last few days. And I've been showing off my forearm, so it's kind of an accident waiting to happen. But overall good. How are you handling it? Wiggly says, so if I purchase a normal spinner from the UK shop, it's £302. If I import a Signature Series belt, it's £483. So I can afford none of them, basically, is what you're saying. Fun. Hector saying, we should buy the Fiend belt. No. No. I don't want to live in a world where that's an option. Connor would still watch a 70-year-old man rage at how wrestling was better back in my day. Well, to be fair, as the old man of wrestling, and I do feel I'm the bitter old man of wrestling in every possible way, I should be having more spiteful, angry rants about, well, in my day, things were better. In my day, men were men, not women. Women were women, not men. And men who were men who were women, not women who were women. Is that sort of rant you're looking for? Because I'm pretty sure that's the rant that my grandparents are going for more often than not. Sexist, racist dicks. Wiggly says, what's your take on Raw getting a TV 14 rating? I don't envisage a return to the Attitude Era. It might just give leeway with more realistic violence and blood and some swearing. Mostly it's for the swearing, to be honest. I think all it is just trying to get some swearing going. That's all I've got. Like, we're not going to get that much more hardcore wrestling. Like, I'd love to see some real bloody 24/7 sections. That could be fun. That could be great fun. Megan says the heat here hasn't been too bad. Highs of around 21, 22, but it's set to jump up next week. Yeah, it's 31, 32 next week over here. I'ma stay indoors. Oh, I know, guys. I've worked hard. I've worked hard to be as unconfusing as possible, as disconfusing as it is possible to be, as anti-confuse as it is possible to be. When I hit my confuse rate, like a Zubat in fucking Diglett Cave, and you just can't get rid of the fucking thing, it's just always confusing you. When I do that, no one gets confused, because I'm a shit Zubat. Guys. This is my confession. I would not be a good Zubat. And it breaks my heart sometimes just to know that I'm always going to be like the best I could ever be is this shit Zubat. Anyway, Lacey Evans is on her way down to the ring. She's being a dick. That's all I've got. Her character is essentially entitled Karen. Doesn't even wipe her boots. Aaliyah's just going to take a beating right now. There's no two ways about it. Lacey's promo will probably last longer than this match. Wiggly says, as I mentioned before, given WWE is now more popular in Asia and the Middle East, especially the latter, I can't see them bringing back certain aspects of the Attitude Era. I agree. Even as a red-blooded male, the brown panties matches in the Divas era was a bit of a stain. I agree. I don't need brown panties matches. If I want to watch porn, I'll watch porn. If I want to watch wrestling, I'm probably going to turn on wrestling. So I'd rather just watch wrestling. I really didn't think we were going to get crowds booing a Marine. Like, if you hadn't done the whole walking out again and again business, people would be loving this. They'd be eating it up. Simon says, hey Tom, late to the watch along. Just hope very personally TV14 is just Cowboy Brock on another appearance beating down people and wrestlers blading a lot. You want blood. That's fair. Connor says, WTF is happening. Lacey Evans is establishing herself as a further heel. Wiggly says, Jerry Lawler's old promo shouting puppies, puppies, puppies would just cringe. You are not wrong. Yes, Wiggly, you did say that. So did PW Insider. Sean says, 5 hours ago, WWE put out the Alexa versus Eva match from SummerSlam last year. Yikes, that dreadful match. Yeah, you might not want to remind people about that. It's just not the right call. It's not a bad promo, though. Pat McAfee joining them the what? Connor, what have you done? Firstly, that is a hell of a boo in response to an apology. Always a good thing. Always a good thing. Connor has gifted 5 more memberships. That is 25 memberships you've gifted there, Connor. Just want to be clear on that. Has gifted 5 memberships to the YouTube side. Thomas Phipps has picked up the first. There are 4 more currently waiting in limbo. Anyone who does not currently have a YouTube membership, please do jump over to the YouTube side, opt in, and you'll get one for free. There are 4 waiting in limbo. Thank you, Connor, for your continued generosity. I really do appreciate it, mate. Lacey Evans with a very strong promo there. Like, genuinely a very strong promo. Used the what chance to her advantage and then walked away from the match, which of course leaves room for a draw segment that will probably... We haven't seen Ronda yet. Strong response there for Lacey Evans. She's definitely earned those boos. Credit to her. Simon says, I always love the original ECW street fights. I could take them or leave them. Wiggly says, JR announced AEW is coming to the UK by the end of 2023. Cool, I'd imagine a lot of people really want to see it. Bailey says, if anyone thinks 2022 WWE is simply awful, just watch some of the early 1990s and early 2000s stuff. Cringeworthy. I do agree. I feel it's very much worth pointing out that this is one of the best eras of wrestling. Like, there is a lot that you undoubtedly aren't happy with, and that's true of everyone, myself included. But it's hard to argue the point that this is, at the very least, a great time to watch wrestling. Just a great time to be a wrestling fan. Wiggly misses the Lacey Evans Southern Belle look. She's actually gorgeous. I do agree she's a beautiful woman. The Southern Belle style might have suited you, and that's obviously worked perfectly fine. To each their own, as it were. Simon says Aaliyah's not wearing much clothing anyway, very risque in-ring gear, same as Liv, so what's the difference really at the end of the day for the women TV PG, TV 14? The women choose their own attire, they can wear what they want, and when you say what's the difference, blatant sexualization? She might not be wearing much, but that doesn't mean she gets sexualized. That's the main difference. Megan says, as regards Lacey, at least she is a veteran and not some dependent bitch. Not sure what you're saying there, Megan. Bit of clarification, please. Our draw segment features Drew McIntyre, who looks dressed to wrestle, and imagine he's going to beat up Rich Holland this week. As regards the the gifting of 5 there. Connor says, that was for your great performance. I really felt your sadness for being a bad Zubat. Why you have to bring that back up? I just had to take a moment to recover. And now here you are again, dragging me over the furnace. Boo. BM says, how do I join? How do I take advantage of one of the memberships? It is literally, yeah, you've spotted it. It's an opt-in right at the top of the chat. You've just got to opt in to gifted memberships. A membership on YouTube costs the same as on Twitch, but I get 70%, whereas on Twitch I get 50%. So seriously, thank you, Connor. It's a huge commitment that you've made. And I really do appreciate the gifted subs, the gifted memberships, I should say, and the constant support. Really do appreciate it, man. Austin says, no Roman tonight. Are we getting Roman Brock Monday? Roman is planned for one Raw coming up. Logically, it should be this week, but we'll see how it goes. I can't remember the exact one. Simon says, AEW and Impact are both TV 14 rating, have been forever. Their ratings are both not the very best, pardon me, for the longest time. It's not down to the rating. It's very much down to the content. Eric says, why are you booing an American hero? Because she's a bit of a dick. I mean, that's it. But just a bit of a dick. Sean says, I like that Liv said she's not intimidated or scared of Ronda. She openly admitted to being the underdog, but that worked for Daniel Bryan. No thanks, Simon. I don't really want to watch ECW. Wiggly says, you're a bad Zubat, but unfair. Every Pokemon is inferior to Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff. Are they? Are they? Still a Raichu guy. Also a Sandshrew guy. I like the shape of it. It looks like it'd be fun to just sort of pet. I know, Wiggly. I know. I remember. Hector says, remember when we thought all these returning promos would lead to something big for Lacey, but here we are. It still could. After all, after SummerSlam, Liv's going to need someone to feud with, and Lacey seems to be set up in that position. Sean says, I say, so far the best moment of this year was Cody's return. I think that's hard to argue with. Certainly one of the biggest moments we've seen in a while. Connor says, because that percentage difference is why I'm doing it on YouTube now instead of Twitch, and I very much appreciate it. It's a little thing, and I obviously still very much appreciate gifted subs on Twitch. It all helps. It's all a big help, and I really appreciate it in both. I'm just letting you know the behind the scenes bit, you know? If you reach a certain level on Twitch, you then start to get 70% instead of 50%, but you have to reach a certain level first, and I ain't there. Here we go, Megan clarifying. A depender is usually a woman who tries to get all the perks of being service personnel without doing any of the work. Gotcha, thank you. And Simon says, because they prefer the sassy Southern Belle heel gimmick that Lacey did so brilliantly so well back in the day. Not necessarily. I think they also think she's a bit of a dick. You know, she's a bit of a dick. Thank you for subscribing on YouTube, Ramitanesia. Thank you very kindly for that subscription. We are still very much growing on YouTube at the moment. If you would like notifications whenever I go live with our spoiler warning news show, or of course our watch parties, or there are in fact free gift memberships waiting in the lobby at the moment, gifted by Connor. If you opt in, where it says opt in at the top of the chat, you will get a free membership for a month to the Tom Colohue channel. It won't cost you a penny, and it will cancel itself automatically at the end of that month. You can of course hit like on the video. That is a big help in the growth of the channel. Little thumbs up can make a massive difference, and remember to subscribe as well. We are currently halfway through our watch party of WWE Smackdown. McIntyre missed his cue ever so slightly to get up on the ropes, but we have a large 3D sword dangling in his face. And I can't for a moment imagine that we're actually going to see McIntyre versus Sheamus here. That is a SummerSlam match. It's pretty clearly a SummerSlam match. Fanatic Gamer, you alright, mate? Says, hey, you love WWE Modern Era. Yeah, I think it's one of the best areas of wrestling. I think it's a hell of a lot better than the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era was terrible. Blatant sexism, barely anything lasting more than 2-minute segments. Often the New Age Outlaws intro would last longer than their match and the commercial break after it. You had like 17 storylines, all in 2-minute blocks. It was bad. Ramit says, Liv Morgan is best, but without Ruby Soho, she's like a fish without a pond. Disagree on that one. She seems to be stronger than ever before. Simon, Sabu was alright. I never really thought his matches were particularly impressive. I thought he just spent a bit too much time going, okay, I need to get hardcore now. Okay, but like, you're gonna do any wrestling or nope? Just gonna jump on tables. Cool. Megan says, if you look up Dependent on the likes of TikTok, there's loads of skits about how entitled they can be. Gotcha. Okay. I mean, I'm gonna take your word for it, but you know. Butch has stolen the ring bell. He's stolen the ring bell. Does that mean the match is official? Because Rich Holland's the one in the ring. And he's just going to war. Sean says, I doubt they'll do it, but I hope WWE does something special for Survivor Series. This will be the Shield's 10th anniversary. I mean, Seth versus Roman is probably your best bet there. Yeah, so it is Drew versus Rich Holland. Sheamus is not involved because Butch hit the ring bell for some reason, and that is apparently how this works now. You're right, Owen. How you doing, mate? Been a little while. Says, hello, have you been, mate? Hope you've been well. I've been very well, thank you, and hopefully much the same for you. Nice to see you, man. Connor says, thoughts on United signing Ericsson. I'm confused by that. Confused. My suspicion is that he's been bought to play on the left, because they don't really have wingers anymore, other than Jadon Sancho. Because you've got Fernandez and you've got Van der Beek. So, I don't know. It doesn't make much sense to me. Like, he's a great player. I'm a huge fan. But Fernandez is younger and, in my opinion, better. Ramis says, Paige and Sasha Banks is next sign for Ring of Honor or AEW. Are they? Because I've heard nothing on that myself. Paige has options, but she does need to be checked out by medical personnel first. There's a reason she didn't wrestle for WWE. Sasha Banks is still technically under WWE contract. Until there's an official announcement, she can't go nowhere. Wiggly says, edgy opinion. We'll see. But I don't think the Attitude Era was all that it was cracked up to be. We'll look back on it with nostalgia because for many of us, it was what we grew up with and it was cool at the time. But as he said, the rampant sexism, like it was a pound shop orgy, the obnoxious and long segments, the likes of X-Pac and the New Age Outlaws were hardly legends, but because they kept telling us to suck it, we thought they were cool, but to be honest, they really weren't. Wrestlers nowadays are a lot better than wrestlers then. That said, I still love me some New Age Outlaws, and honestly, I thought X-Pac was an alright wrestler. He popped the crowd. I still very much enjoy the tag team of X-Pac and Kane. There was some good stuff there. I wouldn't bring him in now and just have him replace what we have now, but still. Oh, and I'm a Liverpool guy, which your name suggests that you might be as well. I do follow Liverpool, watched the game today against Crystal Palace. Enjoyed it, much more controlled than the last one. Simon says, I really think Sasha's best friend's mentor, FTR, William Regal, could be a massive convincing piece in the negotiating tactics for Tony Khan if when he's able to talk to Mercedes. Sasha's best friend is Bailey. Should probably point that out. Wiggly says, DX only worked because of Triple H and HBK, which as the NWO only really worked because of name redacted. Name redacted was in the Four Horsemen, mate. Drew McIntyre is now stealing Sheamus's moves. And the camera nearly missed it. So for a draw segment, this is exactly what we expected it to be. McIntyre wrestled someone he wasn't supposed to wrestle, picked up a nice clean victory, and Sheamus just sort of sits at distance. Can you celebrate that? Because the match still isn't finished. What I will say is I've been talking about the final boss sort of booking. I mean, that's basically what we've got. Sheamus is the final boss, and McIntyre is fighting his way straight to him. Wiggly says, speaking of name redacted wrestlers, I read something about... Okay, yeah. I'm not going to touch that one, Wiggly. I hope you understand. But yes, there were conversations featuring name redacted. I don't care enough about that to go into it. In my place, ain't something I'm particularly interested in. Connor says, I believe Donny van der Beek or Eriksson will be playing in the double pivot behind Bruno. Don't know why. Don't think it's the best move, but Eriksson is better at it than McFred, so could be worse. Fair comment. Like, Christian Eriksson could be a very talented shuttler. It's not how I would use him, personally. But he could be very good at it. Sean says, was Paige not being cleared to wrestle the reason Paige left? One of them, yes. They wouldn't let her wrestle. She didn't want to stay. Austin Theory on his way down. Decent boo. Strong boo. Sustained boo. Like it. Like it. Wiggly says, but I wish they had pushed X-Pac more for the wrestling than the wannabe gangsterisms. Every time they gave him a microphone, he said the exact same thing. It wound me up. Hector says, Barcelona got Robert Lewandowski. So confusing that one of the big reasons they couldn't keep Messi was money. Yeah, they've added many people since his departure. Yeah. They're going bankrupt. Like, by choice. I got you, Wiggly. I got you. Owen says, who do you think will beat Roman? Seth. I think Seth will beat Roman. Simon says, I know in terms of just close other best friends of Sasha in the business. Again, best is strong. They've had a few pictures together, but I've never seen anything to hint that they are best friends. I'm not sure what I'm seeing a vignette for. Oh, it's just ticket sales. Okay. I was just really enjoying watching like wrestling highlights, but yeah, it turns out they're just trying to sell tickets. A bit more panic than they used to. 37 brand new events on sale now. Surprised they didn't mention WrestleMania. Probably saving that for later. Bailey says, someone on Twitter posted a link to one of those cringeworthy WWE factions 20 years ago, Right to Censor. I loved Right to Censor. I know it makes me a massive nerd, but it's one of those I love to hate them, and they were so hateable. Like, so hateable. There's just something about them that I genuinely couldn't stand. And isn't that all we as fans want? We want a collection of people that none of us can stand. That we all just hate. The good father power bombing one of his own hoes. What a dick. That's how it should be. That's how it should be. Wiggly says, of all the people who should have been champion in the Attitude Era was Ken Shamrock. I agree. Ken Shamrock, Owen Hart, both missed opportunities, I feel. Naturally, we know what happened with Owen Hart. There may have come a time. Ken Shamrock, I feel it mostly came down to injuries and the fact that he wasn't that committed. But he can still wrestle pretty well. He had the chops. I just don't think he really had the... The way I would describe it is that Ken Shamrock was Kurt Angle, but even Kurt Angle would not have done well in that particular part of the Attitude Era. If someone as good as Kurt Angle was given 2 3-minute matches and a 1-minute promo segment backstage, I don't think he'd have made it. They had already shifted back towards wrestling at that point. That worked out for him. Also mentions Regal, which also fair. Owen says, what is the best pay-per-view do you think? In my opinion, the best pay-per-view the WWE have ever put on, and the best pay-per-view I've ever seen in wrestling, is the Royal Rumble 2019. If you're asking in general, like year in, year out, it's usually the Royal Rumble for me. Although, this year's was crap. But I'm just going to pretend it never happened. The use of Bad Bunny was just unforgivable. Connor says, what also pissed me off with Barca is they owe De Jong 17 million, so I can't go forward with the deal, but instead of Barca paying him the money they owe him, they just buy more players while he sits there like, where the fuck is my money? I have seen nothing to suggest that that's the case. Everything I've seen just suggests that he doesn't really want to come to United. With the Eriksen deal, that may help turn that around. Sometimes you've just got to start getting some players in order to convince players to stay. You may convince Cristiano Ronaldo to stay with Eriksen, with De Jong, for example. I don't think he'll go to Man City. I don't think anyone's going to want him anymore, to be honest. I don't think anyone really wanted him last time. And then United were like, yeah, we'll take him. Why? Wiggly says, someone I love who doesn't get enough love is Ivory. I agree with that. Ivory was a big part of the training for Lita, Trish Stratus, was a big part of preparing the next generation. And honestly, she was the only person who could actually legit compete with someone the physicality of China, because Ivory could really wrestle. Will, welcome. Says, as a fan, do you believe WWE would ever work it out with Sasha, or is she AW bound? It's hard to say. The WWE are trying to work it out with Sasha, but from what I can tell, Sasha just does not care. She's done. She's absolutely done. We'll see how it plays out. Sean said, Sheamus final boss. I thought it was Meiko Satomura. I'm just talking in general about the idea of a final boss storyline. I wanted it originally with AJ Styles when he had the club and he had the United States Championship. Sheamus also fits the bill very well. Simon says, I believe Sasha will go to AEW eventually when she's free available to, in my personal opinion. Fair enough. Wiggly says, Ken Shamrock was like a cross between Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar, but lacking the mic skills. He was lacking the mic skills. He did need someone with him. Imagine a Ken Shamrock, Paul Heyman connection, though. We have a recap of Brock Lesnar, probably to highlight Austin Theory, but two birds, one stone. Wiggly loves him some WrestleMania 17. Ghost says Great Balls of Fire was the greatest pay-per-view of all time. Fight me. To be clear, Great Balls of Fire was great fun. I genuinely have a soft spot for that pay-per-view. I thought it was great. Samoa Joe versus Brock, the ambulance match between Roman and Braun, Sasha Banks versus Alexa Bliss. It was a great show. I'll say how you doing, Ghost. Simon thinks Ronaldo's going to Bayern Munich. That's the latest rumour. Wiggly says, does anyone watch Olympic Greco-Roman wrestling? Heading to the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham as a volunteer. Michael watched the wrestling, but I just shelled out for the senior tickets, so I might just stick with what I have. It depends. Like, if you enjoy Drew Gulak versus Matt Riddle in NXT, you'll love the Greco-Roman wrestling. With Austin Theory currently stood in the ring, just waiting for something to happen and him to be queued in, I must imagine he's at least somewhat entertaining out there. Trying to do something with the crowd. At least reacting to this being on the screen. Connor says, with De Jong, he doesn't really want to move, but only way back can keep him is De Jong taking a pay cut, which he also refused to do, but he also refused to discuss going anyway. Till Barca's paying him his money, which I can understand. What's your thoughts on this one, Connor? Like, I don't doubt that you've researched it. I don't doubt that at all. But I'm just interested in what your source is. Because I also like football, and I want to track some of this. Wiggly says, I'm a fan of sumo wrestling. Watch loads in Japan whenever I visit my aunt. She's Japanese. I watched a bit of it. And it just... The fact that we're now watching Brock and Otis in the ring together... And we're talking about sumo wrestling. Beautiful segue. Sean says there's a 20-woman battle royal at NXT to determine Mandy's next challenger. Does NXT have that many women? Yes, they do. Not all of them debuted yet. Simon says the Ronaldo rumour is on Twitter with Fabrizio Romano, the very big football journalist who's very reliable. I do follow him. His work has been very good recently. Also, he's gained millions of subscribers over the last 2 weeks. It's ridiculous. Wiggly says the only thing for me that would top meeting Cena would be meeting Asuka at Clash at the Castle fan access. Cross your fingers. I will hope for the best for you, mate. I really will. Thank you, Connor. So it may be that I did see that at some point and just it didn't compute. But I know Fabrizio Romano has been talking about De Jong quite a bit and De Jong not wanting to come. Bailey says, people say Sasha is gone, but imagine the negotiating power she'll have with a movie or two under her belt. Vince would pay Brock-style money for her to return at a Royal Rumble. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. I'm not going to do that, Wiggly. I think Man City have already got better players than him. I think they've sold better players than him. I think Raheem Sterling's better than Ronaldo is now. And I definitely think Haaland is better than him. If you're going to build a team around Haaland, do not bring in Ronaldo. Ghost says, just here to troll at the moment, having a good day. Hope everyone's doing well. Doing very well, thank you, and you troll away. Paul Heyman is now trying to make friends with Riddick Moss. In exactly the same way he did earlier. I like this. This is a good SmackDown. I agree with you, Wiggly. Penny Mordaunt's there. Rishi's too much of a clear backstabber at the moment. I mean, they all are, but still. Riddick Moss celebrating the fact that he beat up Baron Corbin. Just really enjoying that moment. Maybe Moss should take this deal? Seriously, take the deal. Take the deal. It's a good deal. Take the deal. You're going out there to beat up Fury anyway. It's two birds, one stone. Take the deal. Even if you lose this going for your career, take the deal. Shake the hand. Shake it. Shake the hand. Why are people just dumb? He is. Go do him a favour. Has he lost his damn mind? Oh, he got his guy's surname back. He was just offered a championship shot against Roman Reigns for beating up someone he was already going to beat up. What the hell is happening this week? Lost his damn mind. Ugh. Sean says, I've been seeing Rock's daughter has been cutting promos on NXT live events. Not sure if she's face or heel. Is this a way to introduce her to the crowds before they debut her? Yeah, also a bit of practice. Wiggly, as you mentioned of Sterling. Sterling's the exact sort of poacher that Haaland is. So I get why he's been let go with Haaland coming in. Haaland's slightly better in that position. But yeah, Haaland will be swallowing up all of Sterling's goals. Hector says, I think I can speak for everyone when I say I don't want the TV-14 back because I think we can all forget Choppy Choppy PP. Choppy Choppy PP was the very first episode of Raw I ever watched. I don't know why I stuck around. Chad says, since WWE allowed Mickie James in the females Royal Rumble match, Impact could only allow Miz being in a Monsters Ball match. Sorry, Monsters Balls, because of his massive balls. That's true. Because his balls are massive, huge, colossal. It's almost like a grapefruit gag. Connor says, I very much feel that the Young deal will come down to one thing now. If De Jong gets on the plane for Barker's pre-season, if he doesn't, it might be dead in the water. I think it's dead in the water. We'll see how it goes. Ghost just says, take the deal, take the deal, take the deal. That's what we need in WWE. Someone to come out and just be like, take the deal, take the deal. 3-word slogans in politics. It's the way. Drain the swamp, build the wall, lock her up, lock her up, lock her up, lock her up. He wanted to lock a lot of people up, let's be fair. Glad you're excited, mate. Hope it goes well for you. Larry says, sumo wrestling is a fascinating sport. Many wrestlers can win a match by staring out an opponent before the fighting starts. Psychological warfare. Bit like poker. Wiggly says, once upon a time, I wanted to meet a person who calls everyone brother. Growing up, he was my hero. Then we all realised he's not a nice guy. Sad. Sad indeed. Wiggly says, there's a UK sumo wrestling stable in Derby which teaches for free. Might try pull up to give it a try. Why not? If there was a wrestling school local to me, I'd absolutely take that up. I really would quite like to make that happen. Wiggly says, I still even have old wrestler who isn't my brother t-shirts and jerseys. Wouldn't be caught dead wearing them anymore though. Burn the fuckers. Simon says, I saw some very unsettling hate on Twitter this last week or so. Very nasty pro wrestling fans body shaming Becky. Becky's in great shape, absolutely stunning. They are nasty and horrible. Even if she wasn't in great shape, they're still dickheads. They are still dickheads. See, Wiggly, I don't agree. I don't agree. I think having two poachers lined up next to each other would not work. Just wouldn't work. I think the plan now is just to have your wingers as creators, and Sterling isn't a creator. At least in my experience, he's not. Sean says, I'm sure the ball thing has stuck with Miz. It has. There's no escaping it now. No escaping it. Simon says, The Mandalorian Season 3 with Sasha Mercedes in it as Costa Reeves at the Night Owls in it, starting of the February 28th, Disney Plus. Are you a fan of Mando? Not really. I tried watching it. It annoyed me. I don't get why people love it so much. I think it's just not for me. Less than 40 minutes left. We are getting ourselves some MMM. It looks like it's just a vignette this week, but I'm okay with that. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Ultimately, I think it's going to be a while before any of these really get in the ring. I'm also okay with that. I just keep doing this for a few weeks. I'd love that. Connor says, if it's dead in the water, we need to move on quick and get Tielemans. Tielemans or Neves are both great choices. Give away a week. Ruben Neves could make a big difference. Sean says, surprise, the ball's finger stuck. Well, grapefruit stuck and it never should have. I'll say that. Unfortunately, there's people who troll wrestlers in all walks of life. Most of them are dickheads. Most of them are dickheads. Jared says, stupid things like Madcap Moss refusing to take that opportunity for free won't happen in TV14. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. TV14 is the saviour of all of us. As soon as they increase the rating, wrestling will be watched by millions of people all over again. We'll be shooting back up to 8 million to 10 million. Or just shooting back up. Next week, the Beachwear collection with Maxine Dupree, which I believe is a natural relative of LA Knight. See, they didn't need to overdo it this week. They could let it breathe a little bit. Max Dupree is doing really good work on Twitter to promote them. They've got the website set up. Pat McAfee there advertising the website, which is very, very good work on his part. I like what they're laying out there. I like what they've put together. Genuinely might put my name forward. It would just be fun. Simon says, apparently Goldberg is going talk is Jericho. Breaking news right now. AEW fans in panic mode if Bill is still a free agent. I have mentioned before that Tony Khan is interested. If people are trolls, they'll troll anything, Wiggly. Ghost says, this could be your future. Just imagine Mr. Tomei. Tomei. Maybe. We'll see. Megan rightly says, it's a nice bit of fun. It is. We'll have to try and work out a good picture of me, because I don't believe there are any. Connor says, obviously the people in the boardroom at United are not the brightest. Fair. Sean says, who's this LA Knight you speak of? I misspoke. I meant Max Dupree. Simon says, absolutely love Mando. For the Book of Boba Fett was very good. Really enjoyed Kenobi. Thought it was great. Haven't watched Kenobi yet. That is next on my list. But then I started watching Orville. So now I've got to get through Orville to get... I'm doing my thing. Michael Cole asking Pat McAfee to put over Theory after the match at WrestleMania. There was a scary bulge coming out of Austin Theory's back there. I was confused. Don't worry, Wiggly, we're moving on. You know I only talk about football for brief bits. Obviously, there's a lot of people asking about it, so I'll answer questions. But we always stay focused on wrestling here. Although I am starting to think we need to eventually start doing some actual football streams. Got a lot of football fans in here. Wiggly says, I want Goldberg to come to AEW, beat Moxley and Punk when he returns and be the champ. See, initially it sounds like you're trying to say, oh, I want him to come back and sink AEW, but no, you're actually a Goldberg fan. You are strange. Hector, I just see him going bankrupt. That's all I'll say. Wiggly says, I want Goldberg to end MJF's career in AEW. In fact, I want Goldberg to destroy everyone in AEW except Hikaru Shida. So, Jade? I'm curious, Sean. I'll see how it's played out. Simon says, LA Knight has been added to the latest DLC pack. LA Knight? Megan says, LA Knight's been gone from NXT for a while. Maybe it's helping Max. I think they're cousins or something. There's certainly some physical similarities. Certainly some. Wiggly, I'll be cutting off conversation about any football team after a little while. Okay? You know this. You know I don't always talk about City when you want to talk about City. In fact, I do that quite a lot. I don't even talk about the teams I support. Connor says, I was tempted to put a submission into the MMM website, but the picture just be me in my banana costume. I think it would be great. Do it. Absolutely do it. Now, the lighting's not great in the cupboard, so I'll just... There you go. You've got like a little tiny bit of light now. Simon says, AEW has Wardlow. They don't need Bill. But what if they want Bill? Megan says, I was away playing First Soldier. Shows how invested I am in SmackDown. To be fair, Megan, I always get a suspicion you're just someone who can't have one screen. You need at least 3 screens. I know that because that's also true of me. Lovely leapfrog from Theory. Good dive from Riddick Moss. Oh, sorry, Madcap Moss. Okay, start. Simon says, I really want to see Becky versus Bayley, my dream feud. It's coming. And Bayley says, for all the Goldberg to AW nonsense, we know it could be much worse. 2 words, Ric Flair. Ric Flair's been trying. He's been trying. Ric Flair has been trying to get a deal with AEW, but AEW, thankfully, particularly Tony Khan, have been like, no. Just no. And rightly so. Like, what the hell? Okay, I was trying to retweet something, but it's decided to reload the entire page. Megan says, I have 2 windows in this screen. I'm on my phone. A stat queen needs to multitask. Indeed. In the Bible of stat queens, that I know obviously you have read several times cover to cover, it does make it clear that you need to be prepared for anything. You need to multitask, and one screen is never enough. Also, I really enjoyed the chapter on multiple tabs. Like, that was so interesting. Now, I'm not a stat queen myself, for obvious reasons. Like, I'm just not very good at the stat queening. But you know what I mean? It was a hell of a good read. And sometimes you can just respect the good book. And of course, the good book being the Bible of Stat Queens. Wiggly says Ric Flair just needs to stay at home. I completely agree. Wiggly says Ric Flair is just a dirty old man. I also agree with that. That's been his gimmick forever. It's not even news. Not even news. Good question, Sean. We'll find out next week. It's probably Maxine Dupree. It's a real person, mate. Google it. You'll be pleasantly surprised. Hector says, my biggest fear of Goldberg in AEW would be his hesitancy to put over talent, regardless of how old he is. The Fiend and KO matches. To be fair, he was told to win those matches. He was told to win them. I mean, it's a great idea, Devon. It's not going to happen under any stretch of the imagination, but it's a great idea. Has to be someone whose name begins with M after all. Nobody's meaner than Tamina. Oh my god, conspiracy. Megan says, of course I read it. Someone had to proofread it. Someone did have to proofread it. Someone had to stat and fact check the Stat Queen Bible. That's how it's done. That's how it's done. Simon says, Flair is going to bleed very heavily, he says in his apparent last ever match coming up very shortly. That's the Ric Flair way. I don't like saying it, but I also have to say it. That man can bleed. Like, it's unnerving. He gets one small cut and then he's bleeding for days. I feel now's a good time to remind everyone, if you're currently watching on YouTube and you're not currently a channel member, all you've got to do is right at the top of the chat, click opt in and you will get a free membership, which has been donated from Connor. There are free 1 month long gifted channel memberships currently sat in limbo, waiting for people to click opt in at the top of the chat. If you click on that, you will immediately get a channel membership for absolutely free. Now, what that means is you get access to members only videos, members only live streams as they start to come in, and also I get a little bit of cash. I get a little bit of cash. If they're not opted in during this show, there's still plenty of opportunity in the future. They will stay in the queue for whoever wants to grab them. But if you currently are watching on YouTube and don't have a channel membership, take a free one. Opt in. I don't think you'll regret it. I really don't. Theory Moss has slowed down quite significantly. Ghost says, not only do I want to be a psychologist, I also want to be a stat queen as well, willing to go along this lifelong journey. See, I think that's the thing that makes me hesitant. You dedicate your life to this. It's not just a job. It's basically a pyramid scheme. Stat queens hiring stat queens, dedicating their whole lives to it. And one day, making a living. It's not easy. But I think you've got the metal. And also the references, because you've been doing it here for a while, Ghost. Megan says, Maximum Male Models has a Twitter. How did I not know they did this? It's fairly recent. It was only set up yesterday. Mostly because they're planning to keep dunking. I'm very excited for that. Sean says, as regards our earlier conversation, I agree, Tom. Alexa versus Sasha Great Balls of Fire was, in my opinion, the best match of their feud. Better than their SummerSlam match and the one they had a week later on Raw. I agree. I really enjoyed the Great Balls of Fire match. Great Balls of Fire was just a great pay-per-view. Hector suggests that Max Dupree can bring in Midian as a member of MMM. It'll be a missed opportunity, and I'll be disappointed. There's a lot of historical M's. A lot of historical M's who could definitely go into Maximum Male Models. But do they look the part? Do they look the part? One day I'm sure Melina will be involved, I'll say that. Megan says, I will say I don't know if the Twitter is a tie-in or a piss take, but it's hilarious. That's the only reason I haven't followed it already. That's the only reason I haven't followed it already, just because I wasn't sure. I just wasn't sure if it was authentic or not. Connor says, I was the 16th person to follow the MMM Twitter account. That's a claim to fame enough. I'll take it. We're getting a genuine competitive match between Theory and Madcap today. which I'm very happy about. Usually one of these two would be paired up with a veteran. The WWE not having faith that they're developed enough to lead a program with just the two of them. But here we are. The crowd are invested. The match is solid fare. Nothing exemplary, nothing to write home about, but solid fare. And for people who aren't that experienced, aren't that recognised, I think they're delivering. Simon says, was the live match really good tonight? Missed it very unfortunately. I thought it was good. Wouldn't call it a world beater, but definitely worth a watch in my opinion. Definitely worth a watch. Connor believes it's definitely real because WWE retweeted the first tweet from that account and follow it. Brilliant, Connor. Appreciate that. That's good research. Solid research. Good old-fashioned journalism there. So after all that, Theory goes for the cheat, uses the briefcase. That is a really strong boo. Vince is going to be thrilled with that response. I know that sort of ruins the match in the eyes of many people, but I think that was perfect. I think this has been a really good SmackDown so far. Ah yes, Sean. Ah yes. Ah yes, when Alexa immediately won the championship back. Yes. Simon says, did they bring up the work shoe from last Sunday at the SmackDown house show? Not verbally, but they were clearly trying to lean into it during the actual match. It was clever. I do like that response from Theory. Moss won, but Austin Theory understands that no one cares. Megan says, Stat Queens are like the Bene Gesserit. We are a powerful force guiding the world with our insight. To be one of us is a true honour as we are rightly coveted for our skills. And then 4 crowns. Sami Zayn! In a sling. I think Sami Zayn's about to get beat up by Austin Theory, even though he's already injured. And I'm okay with it. To be fair, the Usos are up next. So if Austin Theory tries to attack Sami, the Usos will fight back. What are you doing, Sami? He's going to write a strongly worded letter. Sami gonna get beat up. Wiggly, Connor, I'm okay with you guys debating this. I've absolutely no issue with it. I haven't really read it, but I trust you guys to be professional about it, and you clearly have been because you both agree and disagree there. There's also room in the Discord for football if you'd like to chat there. Like, get stuck in. The Usos have backed up Sami Zayn. I love that they actually don't hate him. I love that he's actually growing on them. I can see Riddick Moss waiting for his opportunity here. Spears Theory into the post. Theory gonna take himself a beating. And away he goes. Okay, the Bloodline were heroes there. I love everything that just happened. Our main event, of course, Jimmy Uso versus Angelo Dawkins, and a special guest referee reveal. The fact that we've just seen Sami Zayn suggests it's not going to be him. I love that Sami Zayn is growing on the Usos. They're actually kind of falling in love. Just a little bit. It's so sweet. It's sweet and nice, and I'm a little sucker, you know, for a good story. Just nice, you know. Simon says, Tom, your thoughts on the Dirty Dogs splitting up Ziggler, turning babyface, feuding with Theory. They needed someone to occupy Theory, and I think Ziggler's a perfect opportunity for that. He is slowly sort of winding down his wrestling career. He's focusing more on his comedy at the moment, and he's being a Republican. We'll see how that goes for him long term, because obviously a lot of pitfalls and risks with that. But I do think he's someone who can take Theory under his wing. Theory's a sort of natural successor to him. I can see the John Cena elements, but his current character is a lot more Dolph Ziggler. Bailey says, UK politics question. We have had a very diverse selection of conversation topics today. Does Boris Johnson go away for good, or does he hang around and try to run again for PM at some point like Trump? The latter. No question in my mind, Bailey, that Boris Johnson is not going anywhere. I'm sure he doesn't want to work under Rishi, but I think he's more likely to work under Liz Truss, for example. I don't think she's going to win, but I think that's who he would want to work under. Sean says, how long before Roman gets tired of Sami and has him taken out? Well, if Roman's not there, he can't. I would kind of love it if the Usos slowly just decide, you know what, Sami's better. I just love it. There was a while back, it was like 5 years ago, when the Wyatt family was still the Wyatt family. And we were trying to work out fantasy booking. And it was after the brand split, and Luke Harper was working with Bray Wyatt, and we had the fashion files at the same time. So I was pitching to my friend the storyline, Luke Harper, Sex Machine. Essentially, Luke Harper would still be Luke Harper, R.I.P. In WWE, naturally, he was Luke Harper. Brody Lee in AEW, you know who I'm talking about. He would still be Luke Harper working with the Wyatt family. This all happened because of the neckerchief. It got stuck in my head. So he would wear a neckerchief, and you'd have the fashion police walking around backstage giving people tickets for looking hideous. They'd give tickets to Bray for looking hideous. They'd look at Luke Harper and they'd leave him be. It would happen again like a month later, and they'd leave him be. Month after that, he'd change his shirt to a checkered one, and Bray would be confused. Just a little bit confused. And then he'd run into the fashion police again. And instead, they wouldn't give him a ticket, and they wouldn't walk away. They'd just say, nice. Nice. Fast forward a month. Luke Harper's on the fashion files. Bray Wyatt's not happy about this. Not happy at all. But this time, Bray Wyatt calls Luke Harper out, and Luke Harper walks out in nice dungarees, in a tailored shirt, neckerchief, holding a pipe. Holding a damn pipe. That eventually evolved into the storyline Luke Harper Sex Machine, where he just became the most fashionable and attractive man in the company. Because why the hell not? Now, obviously, this isn't exactly what we're going through with Sami Zayn, but watching the Usos just sort of get used to him, then start to like him, now start to defend him. Sometimes odd couples. BT Sport has completely stopped working at this point, so I'm going to have to restart my PS4 and try and get it working there. Hector says, how would you feel if they gave Theory a Seth-type run as a champ if his cash-in successful? Bring back JJ for the nostalgia, make him a chicken shit heel, have him avoid defending the title but playing the Vince card. I wouldn't like it on the basis that Theory is not a chicken shit heel. He's not. He happily gets involved in wrestling matches. He gets frustrated when he can't win them, but he's not a chicken shit heel. He actually just gets involved in the fight, and you'll see it more now that I've mentioned it. So I don't think he really suits that element. Wiggly says, Boris Johnson may well continue as an MP, but in all likelihood stand down as an MP either by the end of the year or by the next elections. Well, chances are he'll go to America and try the Nigel Farage tour of dishonour. Simon says, Austin Theory was an evolved world champion at just 22. Great athlete, very impressive in-ring young talent. Agreed. Megan said, so the common thought online is that Maxine is Ginny, which I'd be fine with. Ooh. Can I just say, I'm going to say it one more time, ooh. Sure, Wiggly. Connor says, Sammy runs over Theory at some point, then when Theory comes back, Sammy claims he did it for the Chief. I mean, we all know what storyline that is, and we all know that it's the right thing to do. Megan says, people are guessing EO and Nikita Lyons, which is meh. Yeah, not good options there. Not good options. Nikita Lyons, maybe, but I think she's about to get a push in NXT. EO, no, I don't. EO is a ridiculous concept. That's just people saying, I need EO. Yes, but she does not fit the character in any way, shape or form, and she'd be fired within 6 months. That's what you're actually asking for. Oh, Wheeler's got a nice breeze. Nice breeze. Hector said, what if it's not that they like Sammy, but they see him as an asset they can use to help not only them, but Roman keep their titles, especially with Theory looming? It's only smart. It is smart, but that doesn't necessarily mean they dislike him. Like, they could be looking at the opportunities there to have him as their protection and all that jazz. But still, I've just got BT Sport working again. Sami Zayn is on commentary. I could not be happy with this situation. I'm guessing the idea is that they're supposed to be putting out the red herring of Sami Zayn as the referee. We'll see how it plays out. Eric says, I think the special guest ref is going to be Liv Morgan. It is not. Megan says, Boris would work with Liz Truss. I think that's the reason both Nadine Dorries and Jacob Rees-Mogg are backing her. Boris can't endorse anyone publicly. He got those two to do it for him. I think he would work with Liz Truss. I think anyone else he would sort of fade into the background quite happily. Simon says, how many candidates are there who is left in the Tory race for leadership? I believe 5. It will eventually be broken down to just 2 and then go from there. Then it goes to Conservative voters who I think will be more likely to vote for Penny Mordaunt. It's just whether or not there is a coalition to get rid of her at this point. Connor says, that's the thing. Can start using him, but over time they start to like him. That's what I'm seeing, and that's what I'm loving. Sean says, since he didn't see it, Brock is on SmackDown next week, and Liv and Ronda go face to face. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. I did miss that update. So Brock next week is always a good thing. Not sure what the face to face is going to be like. The WWE, they're a bit hit and miss on ye old face to face, but I'll certainly take it. After all, no Ronda this week. She's not been around much recently, has she? Kind of feel like she's having a, oh, don't she look tired moment. I hope she's not, but I forgot about Kimmy Badenoch, thank you. Megan, as always, Stat Queen, this time political. Ultimately, from what I'm reading, there is only genuinely 3 options, but it depends. When the 2 others back out, the people backing them have a choice. If the people backing them choose to back Liz Truss instead, they can kick Penny Mordaunt off the ballot. They can kick her off the ballot. It's not a good system at all. Connor says, I've lost it. I still want a Roman Brock tag team called the Tribal Beasts. Oh. Sometimes you just say magnificent things, Connor, and I respect that so much. Neighbours comes to an end. Wow, that show is eternal. Yes, sure, no Roman, no Ronda, none of the big R's in play. None of the big R's in play. Wiggly says, I don't think they're going to freeze out Mordaunt. I think Truss and Mordaunt will work together to beat Sunak. Good luck to them. Rishi ain't going nowhere. Rishi's going to the final 2. I think we can be confident of that. I don't really like that he stole Asuka's catchphrase to do it, but we are where we are. Twitter are really responding very well to my Sami Zayn tweet. which I like. To be clear, we do still have free channel memberships waiting in the lobby. If anyone would like to opt in, you will get them for absolutely free. These were donated by Connor, who donated 5. 2 have been taken up, which means that there are free still waiting on YouTube. If you want a channel membership, all you have to do is scroll to the top of the chat, click opt in, pardon me, and you will get one for absolutely free. Lasts a month, and then it expires, and you go back to being a standard member, or a standard subscriber, standard chatter, whatever works for you. But please do consider hitting that opt-in button and getting yourself a free channel membership. We are in our last 10 minutes. The crowd have been hot all night. I've spoken about this a lot over the past week. Angelo Dawkins was supposed to be the guy turning heel in the breakup of the Street Profits. That was the plan. The WWE let him know that they were going with Ford as the next big thing, and that they thought Angelo Dawkins wasn't the guy. He wasn't the guy that they were looking for, you know? Since then, Angelo Dawkins has stepped up. This is a good opportunity for him. It is, after all, a main event as well. And who better to work with than the Usos? Like, really? Yes, thank you, Megan. Thank you for clarifying. Sean says a team name I thought of for Axa and Alexa this week was Empress Bliss. I don't hate that. That works for me. Empress Goddess also works. Hector says, I really hope we see Sammy and KO win the tag titles before they call it a WWE career. It wouldn't be a downgrade for them. I feel like it's a full culmination of their story. I don't disagree. I would like that. We have a visible pinfall. I hate it when the visible pinfall is a roll-up. We also have a ref bump. So I'd imagine twin magic. Not twin magic. We have a visible pinfall. No cheating. Are we an Uso down? I haven't seen Jay. I mean, bit rough, Jimmy. Bit rough. Simon says, I'm happy. He's back. My fave ass kicking cowboy ready to kick more ass. Indeed. Yes, Connor, thank you for clarifying that as well. That shoulder was up the entire time. God damn it. There's a point at which this is just getting a bit too much, you know? Sean says, slim chance that guest ref for Usos versus Street Profits is a woman. Agreed. Maybe it'll be Stone Cold Steve Austin. Do it. Wheelie says, it would be ironic if the Tories got there with the first British Asian PM and Labour didn't, despite Labour historically doing more for diversity and multiculturalism. As a British Asian, it would repulse me that someone with values I would hardly call progressive managed to make that history, as it were. It's a fair comment, and I also think it's telling that Labour so far have really lacked when it comes to women prime ministers. Conservatives have had 2, potentially about to have 3. It's a strange quirk, isn't it? Jermaine says, hi Tom. You have to love WWE and Vince McMahon trolling the fans with the Liv Morgan segment after the Liv Morgan match with Natalya. All proves that Liv Morgan is going to win by DQ at SummerSlam. I would have no issue with any of this. No issue with any of this. Welcome, Jermaine. How you doing, mate? Megan says, it's annoying that this is getting dragged out until September. They could have this sorted by the end of the month if they really wanted to. Get Boris out so that we don't have to pay for his wedding party. We're paying for more and more parties. We still have 5 minutes left of SmackDown to watch replays. Sean says a tag team title win for Kevin Owens would make him a Grand Slam champion. I agree it's time. I absolutely do. Now they're going to use this to say we need a special guest ref, which of course they've already said they're having. So we've got 5 minutes. Who it going to be? It's going to be Shane, isn't it? Ooh, Sonya. Simon says, I really think Charlotte interferes, helps Liv beat Ronda that way. You protect Ronda. I don't think she'd be like intentionally helping Liv. I think she'd just be picking a fight with Ronda. Connor says, that's the thing when you're in a tag team and get told you're the worst of the two. You're not quite what we are looking for. There are 2 ways to react. Either get really depressed and don't try, or take that as a right. I will prove you wrong, prove I'm valuable. At least Angelo done the right one. I agree. It is a man for the job. Okay, who have we got? Jeff Jarrett. Why? No, but why? No, but why? Okay, what I'm missing? I'm missing why. I don't understand this choice. I don't understand this. Okay. Simon says, my prediction of special guest ref is Mick Foley or Shane McMahon. Yeah, wasn't. I didn't see that one coming. I don't think anybody did. Justin Stevens points out he's from Nashville. That's a very fair point. Very fair point. Burko also says, from Nashville. I mean, I can't argue with what you're saying. There is logic in what you're explaining. I also still don't get it. Like, Jeff Jarrett. We are getting a nice brawl in the ring to wrap up with. I'll take it. Sami Zayn just not enjoying the moment being too close to Pat McAfee anymore. And that's SmackDown. Bear with me 1 second. So yeah, that's SmackDown. I actually really thought that was a good show. I thought everything we wanted to have happen happened. We didn't have Ronda or Roman, true, but we have it. And again, we had a great opening match between Natalya and Liv Morgan. We had Xavier Woods looking amazing as a Viking Raider. We had Shanky and Jinder Mahal feature in what seems like a bit of a face turn. We had a proper match between Theory and Madcap Moss. Drew McIntyre beat up. Oh, it's gone. It's gone. It's completely gone. Rich Holland. We had Drew McIntyre beat up Rich Holland en route to Sheamus. I feel that's a solid build towards SummerSlam. We had McAfee and Corbin built. We had the Tag Team Championship match built. We had the involvement of Austin Theory potential built. We had Gunter shown and a mention of Nakamura, but no real progress on that. But I feel that that's where we're headed, still very much so. So I feel that very much did the job as best they possibly could. Wiggly believes Jeff Jarrett was overrated. No, he was deserving of being WCW champion or top star. I agree with JR when he said he was a man that never drew a dime. I mean, I really enjoyed his work as Intercontinental Champion when he was in the WWE, but the way they parted, not acrimonious. Hector says over or under one broken guitar with Double J as special ref. I would say exactly on one broken guitar. Just the one. Just the one. Just to remind people how this goes. Probably to break up the brawl that happens because of a potential heel turn between the Street Profits. But the show is over. If anyone would like, I just want to remind everyone, if anyone would like one of the free memberships that are currently sat in lobby waiting to be collected, all you've got to do is scroll to the top of the chat and click opt-in. You'll get it for absolutely free, no bank details required, and it'll expire automatically at the end of the month. If not, they will be available to other people who may come in the future. But we have had 702 views on the YouTube side, which is a damn good return. These particular videos are getting better all the time. The viewership is just really picking good moments for it, and I'm very, very happy with what we've been able to achieve. In the meantime, I'm going to be wrapping up. Connor says, will we get Jeff and Road Dogg singing again? I do not think so. And Sean said, I think a lot of the women that won't be on the card for SummerSlam, Asuka, Alexa, Carmella, just to name a few. Yeah, a lot of women won't be on the card. It'll just be the women's championship matches. We will be back on Monday for spoiler warning. Until then, thank you everyone for joining me, the company. And just, we've had such a diverse range of topics today, and I really do enjoy when that happens. So thank you very much, guys, for just filling my chat. Hope everyone has a great weekend. I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic. I'll see you all very soon.